What's up, everybody? Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. I have way too many windows open right now. So I'm going to close some of these windows so that we can have a nice smooth stream. Quit out of that. I definitely don't want you seeing that. I just pull somebody's report. Close all tabs. I don't want you seeing none of my clients' business. You dig? There's the online world and there's the offline world. And the offline world stays separate from the online world. Well, anyway, welcome everybody. Thank y'all for joining. We're going to talk about a few things tonight. Let me fade that all the way out. We're going to talk about a few things tonight. It's funny because over the weekend, a big old huge Lupe Fiasco argument broke out. And the funny thing about it to me is the argument is over something that was my original topic when Lupe called in 2 weeks ago about has hip-hop destroyed music. One of the things that I talked about was the excessive arguing. Chat room, press number 1 if you remember that episode when Lupe called in. When one of my points was about we don't talk about the music. Hip-hop media, for the most part, is trash. It promotes bullshit. And that's one of the major reasons why hip-hop is not in the best place. Not just the music, it's also how the music is covered. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith tap dancing, being buck tap dancing, Sambo, bitch-ass coons against Jaylen Brown and his father. And we're going to talk about a few other things. But before I get all the way into it, what's the name of the intro song? The name of the intro song is it's Dwann's intro song, and You Can't Have It. That's the name of the song. Ha ha! People are there. What name is that? It's Dwann B's intro music, and You Can't Have It. If you take it, I'll sue your ass. But anyway, welcome chat room. What's up? Kinked Up High Top Rob, Rashawn Jordan, Larry bitch ass is in here. What's up? Swipe me down, Mr. Smoke THC, Mogul Maze, 225 girl, and everybody else up in here. What's up, Sinister? Y'all know I don't spend too much time on the what's ups. Why? Because I don't like channels that do that. That's why. I hate when I'm watching the show and they spending a whole damn time, hey, in the middle of a thought, hey, what's up this person? Hey, what's up that person? Hey, what's up that person? There are channels on YouTube that I stopped watching because they can't get a thought off without saying something about the chat. And I'll be like, God damn, next. So for that reason, I don't shout out the chat a whole lot. But I still want to have that balance of starting the show out, shouting out the chat. You bought Hitman, that's what's up, Clive. We're going to go into Music Industry Hitman on Patreon. We're going to have a little book club about that. Appreciate that, Mr. Xavier. What's up, POV Alaska? And everybody else up here. I appreciate everybody except for Larry for joining. And make sure you hit the share button. Make sure y'all let people know that we are here. Make sure you let people know that we are here. All right. So with that being said, let me copy and paste this link into the YouTube. There we go. I'm on my computer, so we will be talking. I will be taking calls later on. I'll be taking calls later on. There we go. So let's get into it. Let's first start off on catching some news up on Twitter. Some of my bookmarks. Let's go to some of my bookmarks. Oh yeah, I heard about, we talked about the other day about Jake Lang getting his ass whooped here in LA. Don't mess with LA. All right? Don't mess with LA. I remember when that Chud the Builder thing happened, I was saying back then that could not happen in LA. And I had trolls in the chat. Was like, man, LA be having all the Mexicans run everything. And y'all ain't this and y'all ain't that. Well, show me your city's version of this. Another thing we gonna do, KTLA 5 here in LA is doing a special on Christopher Dorner. We're gonna have some Christopher Dorner watch parties and talk about Christopher Dorner, the hero that went back at the LAPD, the former LAPD officers that woompty wamped and boomty bamp for the city. We're gonna talk about that. Next story before we get to our two main topics. Kirk Franklin was called out. Did y'all see Kirk Franklin get called out? First off, why is Kirk Franklin out there in a t-shirt looking like a 90s Crip? Someone said he's going to hell. Let's watch this real quick. Let's watch this.
If anybody teaches a different doctrine, I cannot shake their hand and wish they got you. You need to repent. You need to repent from your sins. You need to repent. You need to repent. You in your right are going to go to hell. You in your right is going to go to hell. Yes, you in your right is going to go to hell.
You told Kirk Franklin that you need to repent. I didn't get what he said he needs to repent over, but he said you and your wife are going to go to hell. Damn, he brought in the brother's wife. And Kirk Franklin out there looking like a 1991 Vice Lord with the R. Kelly wife beater on. Look, man, what did I say in my card reading for the year? In the Patreon, we're gonna have a dope card reading this coming Friday. I'm not gonna wait till the 4th. On Friday, we're gonna do a forecast for the second half of the year in the cards on Patreon. Boy, what did I call this year? I called this the year of the fade. Chat room, press the number 4 if you remember my card reading from the beginning of the year. If you're new here and Sabby Sab sent you, I salute you. But I talk about the real stuff, but I also read playing cards. And these are the calendars, and they tell you what's happening in life. So if you have an open mind, stick around and listen. If it scares you, then not my problem. But we called it back at the beginning of the year. This is the year of the fade, the year of direct confrontation. People on the same team. These are supposedly two Christians fighting. That's the same team. The other guy's not a Muslim. But my question is this. Do I think that Kirk Franklin needs to repent? Hell yeah, he needs to repent. Man, I'm telling y'all right now, Kirk Franklin has some of the most beautiful yet poisonous music of all time. I've talked about that before. His music is hella poisonous. Silver and gold, silver and gold. I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. That song dropped in 1994 when black people still owned the hood. If not owned, had ownership over it and had enough money to maybe spread some of that around and maybe buy more property in the hood. Churches could have, got apartment buildings and the commercial real estate. If our focus was right, remember music is a prayer. If the gospel music focused us on our economy and what was going on in life, we had a chance to not be gentrified now. But the church mindset said I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold. Kirk Franklin made a lot of great music using funk and hip hop. He made a lot of great gospel music, you know, with traditional gospel chords mixed in with funk and hip hop. You know, but at the end of the day, Kirk Franklin's music didn't talk about shit. And I debate any of you niggas over this because, unlike a lot of y'all, I was actually in church during that time. And I never left. I didn't stop going to church till I was 33. I didn't take that. A lot of people went to church as teenagers. Then when they turned 18, they stopped going because their mama stopped making them. Then y'all had a couple of kids, a couple of divorces, and you go back to church when you 40. Y'all know what I'm talking about. People go back to church when they're in their late 30s, 40s, because life done beat their ass, and it's like they're looking for something. Well, me personally, I never left until it was time to all the way go. And I used to play the drums to a lot of Kirk Franklin songs, man. And all those songs sounded good. They sounded great. But they weren't really saying nothing. You're the reason why I sing. Why do you sing? Glory, hallelujah. I love that song. I give the praises to you. But there wasn't no substance in that. So maybe he do got to repent.
Hands and be a witness. And tell the whole world no.
I love that song. But it ain't really talking about nothing. Like a lot of hip hop. Just like a lot of pop. That was gospel pop. It was gospel pop. So maybe Kirk Franklin does, maybe he do need to forgive. Ask for forgiveness. For giving us a whole bunch of gospel music that wasn't singing about shit. Let's move on to the next topic. Oh, yeah, so you know what I'm talking about? So it's not just me. Kirk Franklin's songs didn't say any. Stomp. I remember when Stomp came out. Yeah, man, I was in youth choir. Me, my boy Reggie, the homegirl Lauren. Remember I told y'all the homegirl that was like, pull your shoes up, Dwann? We was all in youth choir. And this is like 11th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. And we had to perform the song Stomp for like the little, the church has like the Friday night, teenage Friday night thing. You know what I mean? We used to, we used to have that, and we had to sing the song Stomp. And I remember learning the words of that song. And it was like, make me clap my hands, make me wanna dance and stomp. Because I remember it started off with this crazy guitar solo, and it uses the One Nation Under a Groove bass line. And you be like, okay, this song's about to be talking about some real shit. Y'all remember this? What was the remix?
For those of you that think that
there it is. You be thinking you about to get into it. Kirk Franklin, lately I've been going through some things that really got me down.
Come on.
I need somebody.
You be thinking you about to jam. And that bass line is One Nation Under a Groove by Funkadelic, you know? You know what I mean? You got that One Nation bass line. You know, it got that.
So I can't get around.
So it's a guaranteed hit. Then I remember just keeping listening like, okay, is it going to be anything of substance in this song to help me get through this stuff? Or am I just going to stomp? And Kirk Franklin said, I don't have nothing to say. Just make sure you stomp. All right. Let's move on to the next topic. So, Let's get into it. Make sure y'all hit the share button. I want to make sure y'all all in here so that we can talk about what we want to talk about. Oh, one more thing before we get to the main topic. I'm not gonna play the whole video, but this is a video about white folks and bathing. They were saying that they don't bathe during the wintertime. Did y'all know this? Chat room, did y'all know this?
Today we are going to ask students how many days it's been since they've showered. I'll go first. Mine's been 0 because I showered this morning.
They said they're going to ask students when was the last time they showered. And she said she showered this morning. So all these people are being asked when was the last time they showered.
28.
28 days.
28. 28. 40.
48 days.
25.
26. 43.
43?
29. 28.
28. 28. 28. Sorry. 27.
This is how I look at y'all dudes that be so happy to date a white woman. These people don't shower during the wintertime. And y'all be so proud. They're literally talking about the last time they showered. How many days it's been since the last time they showered?
28. 28.
27. 27.
You smell, your butt smells, your armpit smells, your balls. Oh, babe, we're ready. I'm showered. The kids and I are showered, so let's go.
You guys showered?
Yeah, you're not gonna shower?
Why did you guys shower? It's snowing outside. Why did you shower?
You're not gonna shower?
No, people don't shower in the snows.
He said people don't shower in the snow.
At least white people don't shower when it's cold and snowy outside.
He said at least white people don't shower when it's cold and snowy outside. Wow.
You don't sweat. Why would you shower?
Dominic, you still smell.
I don't smell. It's
What?
cold outside. I don't smell.
How do you know you don't smell?
White people don't shower in the cold.
Really, that's a thing. Are you joking?
He said
No.
white people don't shower in the cold. Bruh. See, culture goes a lot into who you dating. Culture plays a huge part. And some of you Negroes, these NBA dudes, see, these NBA dudes be so happy to get away from people who look like their mama. They coming in with chicks that don't shower. Ugh. God. If I have any white followers in here, I ain't here to talk about you per se. But culturally, you can never go into a room full of black Americans. I can't speak for non-black Americans culturally. I respect everybody's culture. But black Americans, you can't come to a room. If there's 10 of us in a room, maybe one person went a day without showering, a whole day. 9 out of 10 showered that day. If it's somebody that didn't shower that day, it's probably because they showered last night or like late yesterday, and they just had to get up in the morning and run and leave real quick. But to not shower, that is truly unsanitary. It's not cool, and it's harmful. It's very, 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 very harmful. It stinks. It's dirty. Ugh. let's move on to the next topic before I vomit, all right? Let's move on to the next topic before I vomit. Now let's get into the main thing. We're going to get into the Lupe part second. Let's start out now talking about Jaylen Brown. As y'all know, this channel here, I've covered Jaylen Brown a lot. I've covered him a lot. And in my coverage, we've been talking about how ESPN has been targeting Jaylen Brown. They've always targeted black fathers. Ja Morant's dad, the Barr brothers' father. And there's this overall effort you can see through ESPN, and it's very obvious to target black fathers. Like right now, when you look online, people are like the people who are noticing it, they're talking around it. Hey, I'm gonna need black men to jump off the ledge on this one, man. Y'all need to stop trying to talk around. I'm getting a whole bunch of, oh, it seems like ESPN doesn't like Jaylen Brown. I don't know what's going on. Nigga, if you've been watching ESPN more than 2 minutes, you should know what's going on. And if you're a black man and you've been watching ESPN and you still watch that stuff and you don't know what's going on, I figured ESPN out back in 2005. I stopped watching right about two or 3 years after Disney bought them. I saw that crap. And by 2011, I was all the way out. Can't watch it. Black men, we can't be scared to talk about things as they are. Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins, let's just tell a truth what it is. No disrespect to either one of them. I don't know. I'm going to give a notice by saying I don't know either one of them. But at the end of the day, they are a couple bitch-ass niggas. Dwann, why do you use that term bitch-ass niggas? Let me tell you why. First off, they do work for ESPN, so make no mistake about it. ESPN is the ones giving the directive. ESPN is who's telling these puppets how to behave. But they willingly signed on the dotted line to figuratively have another man's hand up his ass telling him what to say. So I don't care that they get paid a lot of money. Ooh, we get a lot of money. We's getting money. You's just a high price hoe. You not the hoe on Figueroa and Gage. You a Kardashian hoe. You a Heidi Fleiss hoe. You a Madam of the Night. You just a hoe that sleeps with dignitaries, but you still a hoe. And any man that willingly takes that devil's bargain is a hoe. Now, I'm not judging hoes. Hoes are necessary in life. But I don't love them hoes. And I call a hoe a hoe. Make you money, but you a hoe. And I don't respect you. Because they are trashing a black man. Because they boss said so. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Jaylen Brown and Kendrick Perkins both went online to trash on their shows to trash Jaylen Brown. And I want y'all to see what Jaylen Brown's father had to say. What they've been saying was basically, for those of you who know, Jaylen Brown's an NBA All-Star, Finals MVP. He's one of the top 3 best basketball players on the planet. Probably the best two-way ball player on the planet as far as playing both sides of the ball. He's the best basketball player on the planet at playing both sides of the ball. He got blackballed from the Olympics. Just giving you a background on Jaylen Brown. He got blackballed from the Olympics because he spoke out When Nike banned Kyrie Irving, he spoke out against Nike and refused to re-sign and re-up his contract with Nike because of how Nike treated Kyrie Irving. Jaylen Brown works for NASA and JPL in the offseason. He teaches at Ivy League. He studies at Ivy Leagues. He teaches at Ivy Leagues. He's a very smart black person. And when he negotiated his own contract at the time, he negotiated a contract for himself for $304 million. And at the time, that was the richest contract in NBA history. And he did it without an agent. He did it himself. So that's who Jaylen Brown is. And so after negotiating that contract, he said that he wants to turn Boston into Black Wall Street. And ever since then, they've been out. They've been on his ass. So this right here, listen to Jaylen Brown break down Stephen A. Smith. I was so proud of him in his breakdown. We're not play the whole video, but we're gonna play a section of the video to where he talked about how Jaylen Brown is used, how Stephen A. Smith is used as a puppet. Let's get into this.
I'm going to be talking about
audio's low, so turn it up. I'm gonna shut up.
Also, algorithmic social engineering. If I control the technology.
Real quick before I'm gonna set it up. He's talking about social engineering and how media is used to socially engineer the minds of the people. So listen to how Jaylen Brown breaks down Stephen A. Smith and talking about how he's basically telling the truth, telling game. And those of you who've been watching the channel for a long time, we've done breakdowns on how propaganda works. And I give him an A for his presentation on how propaganda works. So I'm gonna shut up, turn your audio up so you can hear what he's saying. The audio is low, and I don't want nobody in my goddamn chat talking about something, I can't hear. Shut up, nigga, and turn your shit up. All right, this ain't my audio, this is theirs. Now let's listen.
I'm very excited to be here today. Today, I'm going to be talking about breaking panopticism, also algorithmic social engineering. If I control the technology, I can dictate the market. I'll explain what that means. Michel Foucault, a French philosopher in 1974, Work, Discipline, and Punish, talked about panopticism. She based it off of a prison design, right? It was a prison design with a watchtower in the middle of the prison. And this theory was that, like, by putting the watchtower in the middle, the prisoners would police themselves because they're under surveillance. So physical authority has shifted to psychological authority, right? And over time, their behaviors change, and this causes a term she calls dynamic normalization. So in the digital age, the watchtower has transferred. So through technology, through bots, through fake viral clips, fake accounts, you can police platforms and algorithmically influence society with the technology that you can control. The technology that you can control can dictate the market. We see it across various industries all the time. A lot of people have seen some of my quarrels with the media industry. That's kind of the reason why I started streaming. You know, some of you have seen my stream and I'm going off on Stephen A. Smith. But exactly, but Stephen A. works for ESPN. ESPN is controlled by Disney. Stephen A. doesn't choose the topics, somebody chooses them for him. You know, his willingness has made him extremely valuable to these companies, but you know, a lot of these companies and corporations, they meet 4 times a year and talk about amongst various industries how they can socially engineer and influence our minds, right, through the technology that they can control without us really even paying attention and even noticing it. Just like the Michel Foucault theory, where I was talking about the watchtower that is policing the prisoners, bots, comments, positive comments or negative comments could affirm whatever agendas that they want to push. They can create the bots, they can control kind of the approvals or disapprovals of what is in society. Another example is kind of like group thinking. If I control a bunch of platforms, or I control a bunch of accounts, or you know, have a bunch of partners that are all
So I like what the young man just did here. He went to the information. He went to the knowledge. He didn't go battle back and forth with Stephen A. Smith. He did exactly what I would have done. Something about us brothers with the last name Brown. Rest in peace, who just passed away. Tom Brown, his journals. Something about those of us with the last name Brown. We tells the truth. I'm sorry, Tony Brown. I said Tom Brown. Tony Brown. Rest in peace, Tony Brown. And Tony Brown's journal passed away this past weekend. Somebody who's very, 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 very influential in my life. Hell, I'm still a subscriber to his channel. To his website, Tony Brown's journal. Go to his website. All of his old videos are up there, and I watch them all the time. But he's telling the truth. Again, rest in peace, Tony. This is Tony Brown. Rest in peace, Tony Brown from Tony Brown's journal. He's somebody that gave us a lot of information, man. He gave us a lot of information about the 80s and the 90s. But anyway, Jaylen Brown. What's up, sincere little God? I looked over in the chat and I just saw you say something. What's up, sincere? So, pay attention to how he addressed Stephen A. Smith. He addressed him on a professional level. And he addressed him with information. And he was 100% right. This is how group thing works. Group thing and socially engineering. Drake does this with his music. Drake pays a lot of people, social media folks. That's why you'll see them on one day say this, and then the next day say that. It's the reason why you hear academics run his mouth all day about Kendrick, but then when they showed his playlist, Not Like Us was like the #1 song played. So it showed personally, that was evidence to show you personally, this is what the dude thinks. Socially, that's what he's going to say. And that's something that you see over and over in sports. There was this one dude, I'm not going to mention his name because he's a bitch-ass nigga, but it's somebody I knew from back in the day. They were the biggest Kobe. They hated. Dude couldn't stand LeBron James. Wouldn't even go play with LeBron in Miami because he didn't like him. Got on TV, got on ESPN. He ended up becoming one of LeBron's biggest dick lickers on the planet once he got on ESPN. And I was like, hold on, in real life, that ain't what you said. I knew you in real life. And I remember how you talked about that dude for years. The minute he got that ESPN job, nigga, it was because that's what ESPN do. That ESPN socially engineers outcomes. On this show here about a year ago, I did a show at the beginning of the 2024 season. There was a meeting at the NBA, and they were talking about who the finals MVPs, who the MVP candidates are going to be. They said Jokic, Luka, and SGA. And if there's an injury, we're going to push for Jason Tatum. This was in a meeting that got leaked on, someone leaked it and put it out there on Twitter, a meeting with the NBA before the season started, them telling you who the MVP candidates were going to be. That's how they work. That's how they work. And so salute to Jaylen Brown for having the smarts to call that out. And then it got to Jaylen Brown's dad. Jaylen Brown's dad was not so nice. I love the way he put it out there. Listen to what Jaylen Brown's dad said. And I'm going to play all 2 minutes of this. And then we're going to get to the Lupe conversation next. But listen to Jaylen Brown's father. Mind you, Jaylen Brown's father is out on attempted murder charges because somebody tested his gangster and he answered the test. So listen to Jaylen Brown's dad on Sway in the Morning.
My son is very educated enough to know what to say and what not to say. Mm-hmm. What's off limits. Mm-hmm. And Big Perk, you wrong for jumping against your teammate, nigga. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. Excuse the N-word, but that is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Watch your mouth, boy.
Okay. The champ is back.
But sometimes we learn
I'm a father, right? And sometimes my daughter's she's in grad school right now. I went to visit her over the weekend. I realize now when I talk to her, I'm learning from her, and you might take things differently than how Jaylen might handle it, right?
He handling it like he's supposed to. He's always handled himself like a man, like a gentleman. You know what I'm saying? Very respectful kids I raised, man. Let me tell you something. Very respectful kids, all of them. You know what I'm saying? And how he handled that kind of pressure, I commend him.
Yeah.
Because I'm different. I'm getting your face, Stephen A. Yeah, I'm coming to see you.
Marcellus, why are you looking at me like that?
No, I'm coming to see you, Stephen A.
What would you say?
I called you a couple times, Stephen A., and you didn't answer. Well, it's okay. I just wanted to talk about it man to man. What's your problems? Why are you attacking him? Why do you attack the black community? Go attack the white community. Oh, that's right. You getting that check to do that.
Ooh.
We unplugged about this. We own it.
Well, in all fairness, Stephen A., Perk, they all got a job to do.
They got a job to do.
And
pick on black guy.
Right.
Pick on the black guy.
And that's how whatever that job is, this is how they choose.
Yeah, I ain't in the league, so come get me.
Okay, Marcellus ain't in the league.
He vibing, man. Y'all taking me back.
Yo, man. The heavyweight champ. The champ is in the building. Give it up for the champ, man.
I got feelings about it. I got feelings.
But what I think is fair is, it's true. When somebody in the public eye is under public scrutiny, it doesn't just affect them; it impacts the whole family,
the
right?
whole community, not just the family.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah. And what I like hearing is underneath all.
I want to start off by saying, why Jaylen Brown's pops look like Latrell Sprewell? Is it just me? Is it just me or do pops look like Latrell Sprewell pops? Well, anyway, appreciate that. See, that's why ESPN goes at black fathers. What's up, Brooke? Anton Films, C. Diggs. I appreciate all y'all for joining. That's how that's why they don't mess up. That's why they don't like black men. This is what black men do. That's that black male energy. Nah, his dad not in the league, Brooke. His son is probably the third best player in the league on both sides of the ball. But Pops, what's up, infamous Eli? Pops is not playing. And he said it clearly. It's good to see that knowledge. He said, yeah, I know you work for ESPN. And salute to Sway, too. Salute to Sway. I appreciate Sway. Sway got a job to keep, so, I get it. But Sway has never bitched out the black community. Sway has always given a microphone to people like Grandmaster DST and DXT and people to tell the truth about things. Sway has always given that. So I want to say salute to Sway and Sway in the morning. But you see, just the fact that Sway has him and LeVar on at the same time. Yeah, and Pops is a former boxer. So look at Kendrick Perkins' reply. This is Kendrick Perkins' reply. I ain't that hard to find. Better sit his old ass down somewhere with all that boy talk. Because we definitely get talking out and we can get our feet hot. The choice is his. Kendrick Perkins, shut up. Yeah, he called you a boy because that's just how you acted. Kendrick Perkins talked all bad about his son. This is Kendrick Perkins. Hey, Larry, you sit in the chat. This is Kendrick Perkins. Larry, you sit in the chat. Let me know if you sit in the chat, Larry. Because Kendrick Perkins, he even sounds like a slave driver when he talk. He's somebody that Kendrick Perkins is somebody that goes on ESPN, and his job. I'm gonna tell y'all while I'm downloading his Zach Randolph's picture in a moment. Kendrick Perkins is somebody that goes on ESPN, and he talks all that crap for them folks, and he's a do boy for the white supremacists. That's what he is. But when it comes to black people, he wants to sit around and talk and act tough. That's what I don't like. That's that's one of the identifying markers of a Sambo. Somebody who speaks highly to non-black people and to non-black people, but when it comes to a black person, they want to take it to the mud. This is why I don't buy none of Kendrick Perkins' tough talk. This is a story that I heard directly. I was there. I wasn't there when it happened, but I was there. I heard the stories directly from the people who were there. I remember this is the 2013-14 season. We talking early in the season. I was with Larry. We talking like the first 2 or 3 games of the season. First 2 or 3 games of the season. I'm with Larry and somebody else that I know. One second. There we go. Sorry about that. And so this was after a game. It was early in the season, the 2012-2013 season. Me and Larry, we're in the tunnel. The Clippers played the Miami Heat that night. This is Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh. It's those years that they're the Heatles. And the game is over with. Me and Larry are in the tunnel and we're leaving Staples Center. Like after the game, the teams come together and both teams always, like after games, teams always see each other. There's the bus for the Heat to leave and all the Rolls Royces and Bentleys and all the cars that those players no longer can afford are down there in the tunnel. When we're down there, everybody's getting text messages. We saw Savannah get a text message, LeBron's wife. Her and Jada were cool. That's Chris Paul's wife. They're getting text messages like Matt Barnes, different players on the Clippers, and everyone's getting these text messages from around the league. Hey, yo, Kendrick Perkins just got knocked out by Zach Randolph after the game. And we like, what? Man, go to ESPN, nothing. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. They don't, one of the reasons why I don't watch ESPN, they don't give you the real deal. The stuff that really happens, some of the stuff that I've really seen happen in the NBA and around in the NBA, that's way more interesting than what they talk about. I've seen happen with my own 2 eyes. They don't talk about. So word had gotten over real fast and something happened. They had Zach Randolph and what's his name? Kendrick Perkins. They got into like a tussle within the game. But after the game, boy, and I remember the only thing that got, because this is back when David Stern still ran the NBA. The only news that I had gotten out that was that Zach Randolph was questioned and cited and questioned, but there's no other further details to display. I just found an article on NBC. I'm just now saying they had an article. I didn't even know they had an article on this. If you follow my Facebook, if you was Facebook friends with me back then, I put a post up back then about it happening. I was like, oh, I heard Zach Randolph just dog walk Kendrick Perkins. The story had never gotten out. But I see now NBC Sports had an article. Here it is. In the article, it says it wasn't a fight, but it was close. This is an article from November 5th, 2012. Didn't I tell y'all it was at the beginning of the season? My memory is golden. Shit. I ain't told this story in probably 12 or 13 years. But this is what happened with almost 5 days. It was And it's saying the players were separated by police officers. People in the post game interview said what they did was they ran a cover story. They ran like a bullshit story. It was nothing. It was a tough heart. This was the political stuff that they wrote about. But I remember, of course, I wasn't there. This is all alleged. I was not there, but I was around players from both the Miami Heat and the LA Clippers that were getting text messages from people who was in the friends and family room in Oklahoma City when the Thunder played the Memphis Grizzlies. And whether it be this player's wife or that player on the Heat or this player on the Clippers, they were all getting these text messages right after the game that Zach Randolph had just knocked the fuck out of Kendrick Perkins. Don't let these goddamn stories fool you. Stop all that tough talk. 225 girl, yes, LeBron is very grimy behind the scenes. And I know I've heard some of those stories personally from multiple former teammates. That's why I have the point of view I have on LeBron. I've been hearing stories from LeBron teammates since 2009, back when I used to be around that a lot. LeBron is not who y'all think he is. That's why I laugh at his nut huggers. I'll be like, y'all gonna be real disappointed when the real stories come out. When the real LeBron stories come out, y'all niggas that be all up in his nuts telling your kids, "Ooh, you need to be like him." When those stories come out, look up a name, Heidi Hobeck. Chat room. Put it to Google LeBron James in the DMs of a woman named Heidi Hobeck. As a white woman. They probably cleaned that shit up. Did they clean it up?
Did LeBron
That's
James?
her. That's Heidi Hoback. They be like, Black Father. All right. Well, that nigga's in Heidi Hoback's DMs. But that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. We're going to get into the main topic because I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that. Rocky, get out your paw. Rocky back here licking his paw. Y'all say what's up to Rocky before we get to the next story. Hey, Rocky, say what's up to the people. You mad at me for picking you up? This nigga mad. He was doing all that Frenchy licking his paw shit. Say what's up to the people, Rocky. You want to say what's up? Rocky like, nigga, I was licking my paw. What the fuck is you doing? I just had my walk. Well, you was asleep, homie. Glad you were awake. Rocky like, nigga, I was all up in my paw. Fuck you doing? Well, anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep going. So, as we get to the main topic of the night, again, I appreciate y'all. Oh, I keep forgetting. I'm so bad at marketing. Tomorrow's the last day before we do our drawing. Tomorrow's the last day before our drawing. A signed Black American Music Family Tree Historical Foundation canvas. This is the last. Tomorrow's the last day. The link is in the description. Only $10 for a raffle. No purchase necessary. No purchase necessary. But it is a fundraiser for the Black American Music Family Tree Historical Foundation. If you want to be a participant in that, get yourself a raffle ticket, or 10, or 25. You will get a donation receipt upon purchase to an official 501(c), the Black American Music Family Tree Historical Foundation. You dig? So let's keep going. This is something that I talked about the other day. I did a live, for those of you who remember, a couple weeks ago, where we talked about, has hip hop killed music? And one of the sub points that I was making was hip hop, one of the main reasons why hip hop is in such a horrible state that it's in right now is hip hop media. Now, I wasn't talking about Cola Reacts. I've seen his channel a few times. I have no issues with his channel, and I don't have any issues with the smaller channels. Like, he had a moment to get a viral clip out of this, and he got some viral clips. So this isn't about him, but I was talking about the overall state of hip hop media from the top down, and the top affects what happens downline. And the top, whether you're dealing with the Angie Martinez's of the world, or Jason Lee's, or the academics, the Charlemagne's, the Joe Buttons, the people who, and when I say top, I mean people who are getting the most views and who have mainstream backing. If you don't think academics has mainstream backing, then you're probably too retarded to be watching this channel. And yes, somebody new to this channel said, "You use the R word." I say, yeah, retarded. If you're new here, yes, I use words like retarded. Never letting that word go. It's a great descriptive term for certain types of people. When I say retarded, you know exactly what I mean. So yes, we're going to keep the word retarded around here, okay? But back to what we're talking about. Right. Make all that goddamn noise. So when you're dealing with hip hop media, not just the new hip hop media, we can go back. Grandmaster Flash. No, not Grandmaster. What's the dude in New York? Hot 97. Funk Master Flex, him. Ebro. Vibe Magazine. The Source Magazine. These publications all push division within the genre. It's always a fight. It's always a fight. Always a fight. Never a discussion. Hip hop is so dumbed down because instead of people talking about this is what makes Lupe great, that is what makes Kendrick great, people want to fight. This is what makes Ice Cube great. That's what makes Pharrell great. This is what makes De La Soul great. That is what makes Outkast great. We don't have these conversations in hip hop. The hip hop conversation ain't nothing but a sassy ass dick swinging contest these days. Well, not just these days. Going back to the beginning of the Source, to the mid 90s with Source Magazine and Vibe. And so for that reason, when you look into it, you see that part of the reason why there's so much drama is because it's the media that drives it. And hip hop media, it provides, out of all the forms of music that I listen to, it's the most dumbed down conversation for such a supremely amazing art form of music. I was at the Hollywood Bowl this past weekend celebrating hip hop at the Roots Picnic. This was Nas on stage. This is the Hollywood Bowl this past Friday, Roots Picnic. This was the Roots Picnic at the Hollywood Bowl. We had AZ came out with Bun B. AZ came out. De La Soul came out. T.I. came out. Bun B came out. He was getting it at the Hollywood Bowl. I didn't get my image. Okay, my video of Bun B ain't up there. But we had a great time celebrating hip hop this past Saturday at the Hollywood Bowl. And it was an amazing show for those of you who were there. So, over the weekend, Lupe Fiasco called into Cola T Reacts. And I don't have any, what I'm going to say, I'm not talking about him specifically. I'm going to talk about an overall issue with hip hop. There's been a lot of reaction over this video. No, not this one. And the reactions in the hip hop media have all sort of centered around this one thing that was talked about. And it was about Lupe talking about Kendrick and saying that Kendrick, there are better rappers out there. And after that, after that, hip hop media has been going wild. Look at some of the titles to these songs. I mean, not songs, to some of these videos. They're Lupe effed up. Kendrick hate. Everything's about Kendrick hate, Kendrick hate, Kendrick hate, Kendrick hate. So I was expecting Lupe to say some hater stuff. I saw all these titles about Lupe hating, Lupe hating. Nobody's out here really breaking down these really. I think Rob Markham did a good job. I saw Rob Markman's video. I think that he did a pretty good job on his video. I thought Rob Markman was fair. And to be fair, I did not watch all of these videos, but I'm looking at the titles and what they're in the part of the conversation that everybody's focusing on. So I was like, okay, let me see, what did Lupe have to say about Kendrick that was so bad? So I want to play this, and I want to break it down. And again, I'm not not talking about this particular host. I'm talking about hip hop media in general. When Lupe came in, salute to Lupe because he calls around and he speaks to regular channels. I want to first give Lupe credit for that, for speaking to us regular people. We ain't got to be sponsored by iHeartMedia. We ain't got to be sponsored by Apple TV. We ain't got to be sponsored by Netflix for them to say something. He's putting up on regular people. But what I thought could have been an amazing conversation, to me, devolved into an argument. And I didn't like this, but let's listen to what some of this point right here that they're making.
No, so you won't commit to that? Okay, bet. So I'm the one that's lying.
Facts.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's crazy, Lupe. Lupe, wait.
Again. So you always gonna choose yourself. You gonna bias yourself because you that nigga.
I'm not. Hold on, wait. Before you go.
Can't admit that you're wrong.
Why
right?
would I,
you
wait,
will never admit to that shit. You'll always try to talk your way out of shit.
Wait,
nigga, I know niggas like you. It
sound like we going through a loop, Lupe. It sound like we going through.
This is Cola T Reacts. Go subscribe to his channel.
It sound like me and you. It sound
Fiasco.
like we going through a loop because you accountability. You're saying, right?
It's a Lupe
Are you
Fiasco.
saying accountability, Lupe?
What do you mean?
Are you saying I should take accountability?
Stop. I'm saying that can niggas get under your skin? And I said, based on your channel and how you move, yes.
Have you ever seen?
So that was how a lot of the stuff started. Just back and forth. Now I want to get into what they've been getting back and forth over. Let me just fast forward just a little bit.
I said I'm mad I didn't get to that time. If I was lit like that, if I was this when you was doing that, I would have been Lupe, listen.
You do a better job.
Lupe, listen.
You do a better job. And
Lupe,
then you would have said it. And then you would have said it. And then it would be like, oh, you would have saw the whole thing. And then you would be like, oh, I know I look crazy because that's not really what happened.
No, see,
but
no, you're doing.
now
no,
I gotta
no,
live
no,
with
no,
it
no,
because
no,
I'm
no,
that
no,
type
no,
of
no,
nigga
no.
that can't admit mistakes.
No. You
right?
are you admitting mistakes?
Yeah.
Are you admitting your mistake?
Yeah.
Because you said y'all made
Right.
up, but you made it clear as day that I don't want to keep bringing up names and get mad at it. You made it clear as day that Dot is not a top lyricist as far as you can find 50 better lyricists than
That's
Dot.
old. That's
So
old.
are you-
So
so
here
are
it
you-
is. This part I want to get into. He's saying that he's bringing up something that Lupe said a long time ago about Kendrick. And Lupe has said a lot of things about Kendrick. A lot of what he said about Kendrick, I don't agree with. I don't agree with some of the things that he said about Kendrick. But at the same time, I understand that Lupe is looking at things Lupe's done enough in rap music to where that his opinion is as either when you don't agree with it, it's like, all right, this just sounds a little bit crazy. Like when he said that he was preferring Drake to Kendrick, some of the stuff, it was like, all right, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. But to argue with somebody who's done what he's done about his opinion, you're missing out on a very, very, very educational, informative, and culturally significant conversation. It's not our place to really argue with somebody about their opinion over something. Especially these artists these special artists. It's so much, their brains think on a different level to where there's more fruit we can get out of the conversation. But at the same time, I understand what Cola T is doing. This is clicks. This shit's about to really, like, his channel's already dope. He already got 40,000 subs. I like his channel. I haven't seen a whole bunch of channels. I mean, a whole bunch of his videos, but I've seen enough of his videos to know that he has a dope channel. And Colin understands that if he can get this back and forth going with Lupe, is going to get an amazing reaction. And it did. Like when Lupe called into my show, y'all know I've done shows in the past on Lupe. When Lupe talked about the drum machine technology, I got my gripes with Lupe. When he talked about drum, like we wouldn't have hip hop without Japan because of the instruments that come from over there. Like I understood where he was coming from. But I did do a correction video like, hey, look, I get what you saying that, but all that Japanese shit was first started here in America, and all the stuff that was started here in America was an electronic derivative of the instruments that Black Americans created. And what was made over there in Japan, they still had to give it to a Black American to show the world how to use it. So I'm not here to say that Lupe's always right and all these things like that. I'm also here to say that there was an opportunity when Lupe called in for me to really go in on him because we disagreed on something. But that's just not how this channel runs. But for those who do run their channel like that, I ain't tripping. Why? Because this is what the audience wants. Let's tell the whole truth. We can say all we want about the algorithm. We can say all we want about hosts of podcasts doing the right thing. Truth is, the listener wants drama. The listener wants bullshit. So I don't begrudge any content creator for feeding red meat. The listener wants red meat. The listener wants a scandalous story. They want drama. They want bullshit. They want I told you so. So I'm not mad at him. Now what I am mad at is some of these other reaction channels that are like really big. I'm not gonna mention no names, but some of the really bigger reaction channels with like 6-figure subscriber letters, they were like, why would Lupe come on to this dude's show and give him clout? That's because Lupe's a real one. He's not looking at numbers. He's looking at conversation and thought. And I wish more artists would be like Lupe and be willing to talk to people. Lupe said he pulled up on old dude because Cola T broke down the video before this. He broke down Lupe versus Kendrick, the whole argument. So I'd rather have a content creator come down and speak to a normal size channel, a regular size channel about this. Because that's where you're probably going to get the most out of it. But I'm not mad, again, I'm not mad at Cola T because he's not the problem. The problem is we live in a society that wants the red meat. We live in a society that wants the bullshit. But it is what it is. I ain't mad. The problem is the hypocrisy. My issue is the hypocrisy. people are very quick to be like, man, why is everything so negative? And why everybody got to be so negative? Because that's what 99 out of 100 of you niggas want. That's why. Sometimes you can't blame the algorithm. Sometimes you can't blame white folks. Sometimes you can't blame the system of white supremacy. Sometimes you can't blame YouTube. Sometimes you can't blame Instagram and TikTok. Because the fact of the matter is, most people want the bullshit. And that's just what it is. And I'd rather live in a society that openly embraces it and accepts it than lies with this fake-ass morality. That's why I like the Star Report so much. I love Star Report. Star Report would be like, we are here for the bullshit. I love it. Star Report will tell you, I'm not here to uplift. I am here to talk about the drama, to talk about the bullshit. He got his callers like Houston and Rory and Florida Boy Jay, and they all coming in with the bullshit, and I respect it. We need more Star Reports telling the truth. So now let's get into the meat of what they're talking about.
You admit, so you over that now.
That's old.
That's old.
Let me ask you a question. You ready?
No,
you
can
ready?
you answer mine first?
You ready?
No,
Ready?
wait.
You ready?
Hold on.
No. Let me ask you a question because we're gonna take it to your space.
Okay, go ahead. All right.
Right. As a battle rapper.
Okay.
Who has the better rappers? Battle rap or mainstream rap?
Battle rappers are the better rappers, but mainstream rappers know how
Stop.
to rap.
Don't say but.
I like that. See, now Lupe is getting into the substance of what he's talking about. This is where this is the part right here that I have an issue with hip hop media in general. Not this channel in particular, but in general. This issue I have goes, we was talking about this issue before this video happened. This is the issue that we were talking about when Lupe Fiasco called into my show. And then we talked like two grown men about the science and the business of music for 30, 45 minutes. So I've already shown you how I react and what you're going to get out of my stuff. So I'm not here to talk about him. I'm here to talk about the industry. The industry in the reaction space took this part and narrowed down what Lupe was saying to hate. Listen to the substance of what he's saying. He's first off talking about, he's qualifying. He's comparing battle rap to the industry, which is a very fair comparison. And it's no different than any other industry. The best singers like you're going to find ain't singing on mainstream radio. Matter of fact, when you talk about Kalani and all these people who won BET Awards yesterday, if you put them in a room with 100 singers, they're going to be in the bottom 10. Kalani, Bruno Mars, no disrespect to Bruno, none of these people, no disrespect to anybody. But you put Bruno Mars, Kalani, Usher, hell, you can put Beyonce in it. Beyonce wouldn't be bottom 10, but you put Beyonce in a room of 100 black women singers, Beyonce's going to be in the bottom 30. Usher's going to be in the bottom 20. Kalani's going to be the absolute worst. And it's the same thing with comedy. The best comedians ain't the ones that you see on Netflix. The comedians with Netflix specials ain't shit usually. The funny ones is in the clubs. And it's like that across the board in entertainment. So he's talking about the battle rappers. And I don't necessarily agree that maybe that they're better. I look at battle rap and making music as two different things. Just like roasting and being a stand-up comedian are two different things. Roasting is roasting, but transferring from roasting to a stand-up comedian, those are two different sides of making people laugh. They're saying that you have musicians who are virtuosos, but they can't play with bands and they don't make good music, but they're virtuosos. So it's different lanes in music that exist. And this is an opportunity for music media to talk about this instead of narrowing things down to hate. Now let's go deeper into what Lupe had to say.
Don't know, nigga. Just stop. Periods. And obey the period, right? Answer the question.
I will try my best to try to obey what you're saying.
Battle rappers are the better rappers.
Yes, my opinion.
Right?
My opinion.
As a battle rapper. Let's be factual.
I don't know about your opinion, but I do know about your opinion. You agree as well. But my opinion, I feel like battle rappers are more witty.
Oh, you agree too?
I'm saying my opinion of me as a battle rapper.
Battle rappers are more linear.
You can't let a mainstream rapper like freaking what's his name that tried to the one that you praised. He came in and tried to
King Los.
Yeah,
King Los IT
came down and tried.
He did his thing.
Okay, so now we going.
He did his thing in those RB battles. He did his thing. He wasn't whack.
I didn't say whack, but he did.
But let's get to the point. Let's get to the point, right? So how many?
AJ Mills.
And you know this.
Mills.
And you know this.
AJ
And
Mills.
you know this.
Okay.
You know this, right? You know this.
For sure.
How many battle rappers are there?
Freaking, I want to say it's a lot. It's thousands.
What's the base level of skill? Like the most bottom tier battle rapper would be better than an upper tier, a mid tier mainstream.
I would say, that falls in the line.
That was a fair assessment. Lupe is saying a bottom tier battle rapper is still better than a mid tier mainstream artist. I would say that's probably fair. That's probably fair. Because mid-tier rappers these days, a mid-tier rapper today is what? Jelly Roll? So I'd agree with that. A mid-tier rapper is what? Kodak Black? Let's think about that. Cardi B? Chat room, would you agree that a bottom-tier battle rapper is better than Cardi B? Chat room, is that fair? Would it not be fair to say a bottom-tier battle rapper is better than Cardi B? Would it not be fair to say a bottom tier rapper is better than Kodak Black? Is that a fair statement? Is that a fair statement? Iggy Azalea. A bottom tier rapper is better than Iggy Azalea. Iggy Azalea had hit.
It is delivery, freaking the way to deliver your message. The way.
Come on.
That's it for me.
My question was, with so it's thousands of battle rappers, thousands.
Yes, and
across all leagues.
And the difference is how they deliver.
All they do is battle rap. All they do is put bars together. They're not making songs. They're not interested in shooting videos.
They do make songs.
All these little niggas.
They try to make songs.
All these little niggas.
Why you saying little niggas?
Why
you saying little niggas?
I'm not saying that they don't.
Why you saying little niggas? I see you did the mainstream shit.
Some niggas be little.
You did that mainstream shit. No.
Somebody said not fair at all because a battle rapper can't do what Kodak can do. I promise you a battle rapper can do what Kodak can do. The difference is Kodak has a mainstream agenda behind him. So that's another thing. We got to talk about, whenever you talk about a rapper and what's happening in their sales and popularity, that has far more to do with the industry, with industry push than it does their skills. And you don't have these conversations in hip-hop media. Hip-hop media don't talk about these kind of things. They just put everybody in one boat and say, let's argue. There's very little nuanced discussion in hip-hop media. There was a lot to take from this interview, but it came down to Kendrick hate.
No, you did that mainstream
back it up.
No,
Stop.
hold on.
We're not
You
deflecting.
can't do that, though. I'm not trying to deflect.
Yes, I can. We're not deflecting. We're not deflecting. The question that I asked,
Stop
quality,
little
right?
Niggas. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not calling you a little.
Not saying not. Well, I'm saying us as the category of battle rappers. You say little.
I meant. I was gonna say, if you let me finish, like little niggas, like female MCs, chicks, dudes, big fat motherfuckers. Like you want the whole scope, right? So the bottom tier of the thousands of battle rappers, you can arguably say would be rapper-wise better than say a mid-tier mainstream artist.
Yes, rapping wise, yes.
Rapping wise.
Right.
I'm talking about a nigga with no views.
Bottom tier like me can probably do some.
You're not bottom tier. Stop it.
Yeah.
You got views.
No, I got.
You on RBE? I'm talking about niggas.
Oh, you saw
I'm
that
talking about-
RBE one? That shit was crazy.
I'm talking about niggas that's on Trash Can Battle League and fucking, Opalaka.
Got you.
Right?
Okay.
Their skill level is very high.
Right.
So when I say that there's hundreds
of only rappers.
Yes. That are better than me.
You didn't. But hold on, you're not going that far. You're not going that far.
Better than Dot, better than Jay-Z.
No, we gotta stop.
Better than King
We gotta
Los,
stop. We doing
better than maybe not better than Absol. Better than all of the mainstream niggas you can find.
Lupe, we gotta stop.
Stop.
Lupe.
No,
you said
that right there to me is a very valid argument. Do I agree wholeheartedly with Lupe? No, I don't. I don't think that there are hundreds of battle rappers better than Kendrick. I don't think that there are hundreds of battle rappers better than Lupe. But I get the sentiment. And if we care about music, that's where the discussion lies, right there. Does he have a point? Because the fact of the matter is, rap music, just like R&B music, has been infiltrated by low quality, subpar bastards of music. That's a fact. And music has been poisoned. Music has been poisoned. And people who have mid-tier and high-tier success generally are the worst of the worst. Not good at all. But what Lupe is what he's talking about, he's having a nuanced conversation over the difference between battle rappers and mainstream artists. And again, this isn't just tied to hip hop. You look at, let me give you an example. If I were going to give you a jazz example, Willie the Lion Smith is one of the greatest pianists of all time. This smooth ass black brother right here. This is Willie the Lion Smith. He was known as one of the greatest pianists of all time. He was a battle pianist. Willie the Lion Smith, James P. Johnson. Willie the Lion Smith was known as probably the second greatest pianist of all time, stride pianist. Probably known as the second greatest stride pianist of all time. Willie the Lion Smith, he don't have no songs that y'all look back on and be like, hey, when you look into the great moments in jazz and the great songs in jazz history, Willie the Lion Smith is not in that conversation. But when it came to battle, the only person that could beat Willie the Lion Smith was James P. Johnson. He was the best at stride. You also never really heard James P. Johnson's name. James P. Johnson don't really have too many classic songs. Neither does Willie the Lion Smith. But these are probably the two greatest pianists of all time when it comes to battle and battle culture. Willie the Lion Smith was so cold. But y'all have heard of Jelly Roll Morton, haven't y'all? You've heard Jelly Roll Morton's name. And you usually hear Jelly Roll Morton's name when they try to say, Jelly Roll Morton has a Spanish ting, and he's a great jazz musician. You heard Jelly Roll Morton's name because Jelly Roll Morton was a mulatto from New Orleans. And Jelly Roll Morton being a mulatto, it afforded him more access to mainstream radio. But Jelly Roll Morton was also a great songmaker. He made great songs. All these pianists out there at the same time. Jelly Roll Morton made some great songs. Matter of fact, he brought the jazz scene to L.A. when he established his brothel, a whorehouse in the top and bar at the bottom on the corner of Central Avenue and 11th near downtown L.A. You've heard Jelly Roll Morton's name, but he was not as good as James P. Johnson, and he definitely wasn't as good as Willie the Lion Smith. Willie the Lion Smith was so cold. When Jelly Roll Morton had a battle with Willie the Lion Smith beat him so bad, he renamed Jelly Roll Morton One Hand. He said, "You sound like you only playing with one hand," although Jelly Roll Morton played with two. And he beat Jelly Roll Morton so bad, Jelly Roll Morton moved to L.A. He got run out of New York by Willie the Lion Smith and clowned out of New York in FBA fashion. Not only am I going to get you up out of here, I'm going to talk shit while you're going. Music history. So this is what we're talking about. You know, it goes long before hip hop. Conversation between the virtuoso battle musician and the songmaker. But it's a very valid conversation because it shows you in that conversation, out of that conversation comes an appreciation for both. But in hip hop, it's very, 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 very hard to have that conversation because the minute you have that conversation and Lupe says something, the conversation is Lupe a hater? And all throughout hip hop media, it's all about hate this, hate that, and no conversation about the music. So the phone lines are open now, 323-705-5150, extension 800. So this goes back to the conversation I had on this very, very, very show when I talked about, has hip hop destroyed black music? And that conversation enticed Lupe to call in. And I could have taken that time to address gripes that previous things that Lupe has said. I didn't agree with Lupe when he said Drake was winning the battle. I don't agree with hardly nothing Lupe has to say about Kendrick. But I also understand that he's speaking from a different place. And on top of that, I don't have to agree. Who gives a shit if I agree or not? That is that man's opinion. Why are we going to spend time arguing over another man's opinion and then calling about hate this and hate that? The word hate has killed critical thought. The word hate has murdered civil discourse. We can no longer have civil discourse when somebody disagrees with us and it's all centered around one word: hate. And this is a major hip hop issue. This is the conversation in hip hop. And that's a problem. And the reason it's a problem was because we as black people, we are the black Americans. We are the gatekeepers, the vanguard of music. All of it. K-pop, country, reggae comes out of our music. Reggaeton comes out of our music. World beat comes out of our music. We are the root of all these different popular forms of music around the planet. And the people who create the music that the planet enjoys can't seem to have a conversation about music that doesn't involve the word hate. And that's what I meant by hip hop dumbing down black music. It's not just the music itself, it's the conversation around it. Yeah, hip hop producers got lazy. Everybody have the sample right. Yes, this tribalism mentality is most definitely poisonous. It's poisonous. Appreciate the subscription, Daryl. Yes, it's very poisonous because we be the same ones as a culture talking about some everybody like taking our stuff. Why everybody stealing from us? But we be the last ones to embrace all the aspects of our culture. Everybody gonna keep stealing. If we as Black Americans, the people who are the vanguard of all the music, if the black men, the majority of us is talking about hate this and hate that, and a man can't express his opinion that's different, that has a different point of view, and you can't take the time to hear him out and at least consider, okay, I don't agree with you, but you make a valid point, then yeah, people gonna keep stealing our stuff because we too stupid to hold on to it. What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Scotty Jenkins 216.
Scotty Jenkins. What's up, you mind, my brother? You out in that truck?
You know, you already know, man. It's time of night. It's my night. Yeah. I'm up in here.
Yes.
I was calling because I wanted to, man, I really do appreciate you keeping, I'm going to take a page out of the Star Report, kicking they back in about the treatment of Jaylen Brown.
Bruh.
I dig the Lupe stuff. I dig that. But the attack of a positive black man, it really bothers me because he ain't out here soft shoeing. He ain't Skittles. He's like you say, why
he ain't wearing a person to dress to the games, huh?
Yeah, he ain't on the cover of Madden with his fingernails painted. I'm mad about that too because I want to get mad, but I'm like, oh no, man. But I was telling, and my son's 12, he'll be 13 next month, and I'm showing him these things and saying, hey man, it's a black father in the life stepping up and stepping out. I saw with my son that video Sunday, and I was explaining to him, hey man, they don't always have to send somebody that's Caucasian. The Caucasian can pay someone that looks just like me and you to come after you.
Right.
And you can't, and this man is educated. This man is not in no trouble. You don't see this man out here popping bottles. You know, this man should be the face of the league.
He really should.
And yet you want to criminalize him, and he ain't done nothing. You want to try to ruin his character, and he ain't even done nothing. But yet, I'll never forget. Stephen A. Smith, boy, you should be. But I'll never forget the moment he did this. Let me clear my throat for this.
Go ahead.
I spoke to Dana White. Dana White is my dear friend.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? We talked, and we're going to get. I'm like, yo, you just was out here trashing black men.
Let me give context to the listener what you're talking about. What he's talking about was Dana White, the leader of the UFC, was caught on New Year's Eve on camera slapping his wife up. And instead of Stephen A. Smith saying something about Dana White smacking his wife up, he said he came on air talking about some Dana White's my friend. Now go ahead.
Yeah, he was so soft-spoken. I had to look at I said, wait, that's Stephen A. Smith talking? Soft-spoken, didn't attack him, never went after Josh Giddey and those allegations.
Oh.
And Ray Rice made a horrific mistake that cost him his career. But you went hard body on that. So the whole thing is that, man, I love the fact that you keep bringing this, and I do be seeing these NBA guys that I listen to these different podcasts, and it really chaps my soul that they keep talking around it and instead of actually. And I noticed in that video, LeVar Ball was in that video too. I'm like, okay, I want to go back and watch the entirety because I want to know what was his involvement because he was the other black father that they blackballed, that they tried to put a fake, what was it, verbal sexual assault.
Yeah, we talked about that one media lady.
Yeah, let's switch gears. I'll switch gears with you anytime. Oh, wow. I'm like, what? Really? So yeah, they do anything, and I'm gonna land my plane with this one. I remember a bunch of years ago. You might remember this better than me because it's in the NBA world. There was I don't know if it was a CBS or ABC. It was something that they had where they were interviewing the NBA fathers, and the NBA fathers were saying how the media purposely just passes over them as if they don't exist. One father spoke up and said, "Hey, they did a whole interview with my wife and didn't even put me in it, and we've been married for like 30-something years." And I was like, "Man, that's that agenda."
And you know, to go along with what you just said about the agenda, go back to the NBA draft. The first 10 players this last NBA draft that were drafted all had fathers that were there. And Malika Andrews did nothing but talk about the mothers. Going down to Carlos Boozer played in the NBA, and she didn't even acknowledge the father who played in the goddamn league.
Man, I saw that. I saw that on X. I saw that clip.
But thanks for giving us a call, my brother. Man, I got a bunch of
people
people lined up calling in, man. Thanks for giving us a call.
All right, peace out.
Yeah, for those of you listening, I only have one call at a time because I don't want that loud ass call waiting. Beep beep. Like remember how it was a year ago on this channel? I'll be talking to somebody, other people be calling in and be beeping. I got tired of that, so I don't have call waiting. So please call back, but understand if somebody's on the phone, that's it. I'll see a missed call, but I don't even have the option of answering a call. Because I don't want that beep, beep going while we're talking. But no, he's 100% right about there's most definitely an agenda against black fathers and black masculinity. And any black athlete that stands up and is masculine, he's not a Skittle guzzler. He has aspirations and he speaks positively and he's intelligent. He's going to be slandered. That's why I always say, black people, ain't no point in kissing nobody's ass. Just be you. You can't walk around on eggshells. For what? They ain't gonna like you anyway. What's up, Carter? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Whoa, what's up? This Fresco calling out of Baton Rouge.
What's up, Fresco? What's on your mind, my brother?
But you can hear me
sir.
good? Okay. What I was gonna say is about the Lupe situation. I understand clearly everything where Lupe is coming from. Everything. But it's the fact that he has a distinct timeline of taking subtle jabs at K-Dot. Like, you can just go down the line. I don't want to wait.
Yeah, since what, 2013, since the Control Verse?
Yeah. And I think that's why people are balling everything up into hate with him and Kendrick, because every time he speaks on Kendrick, it's a but, it's a subtle jab that comes along with that shit. And then the fact that when Kendrick was completely crushing, eviscerating Drake in the battle, he still took Drake's side. And that spoke volumes because it's been thrown out there that he ghostwritten for Drake as well. But, you know, part of being a ghostwriter is you got to be a ghost. You can't say anything about it. You can't speak on it. So I don't think, I think, you know, the media, the public is always going to jump the gun and say it's hate. But I could say it's some type of disdain there he has towards Kendrick, because I'm going to be honest, I was a big Lupe fan. One of my favorite rap songs is Cool, from way back. That's one of my favorite rap songs of all time. But the problem with Lupe is, remember that thing you said about emote?
Yeah.
How artists emote or put emotion in their music? He doesn't really do that.
Yeah.
And I think his monotone vibe and frequency he brings on the track deteriorated his trajectory in his career. If I'm saying that right, it messed him up. Regardless if he would have took the deal that he said in the Koala interview or whatever that was, he wasn't gonna get what he was looking for, because his energy, he didn't emote like Kendrick emote. YD, he from my city, Baton Rouge. That's all he know is putting emotion and passion in it. They don't do bars out here. They just do straight passion. Kevin Gates is the most lyrical rapper to come out the city. And he even puts a lot of emotion in his raps. Lupe doesn't do that. And that's me personally, that's why I think he lost in his career. But overall, I think it's just some type of disdain there. Just me personally, because Kendrick is just as lyrical as him. Maybe not more lyrical, but he's up there with him. I think that's where, you know, the disdain comes from. Because Kendrick has that emotion, that soul, that passion,
And
that
to go
fire,
along with what you're saying,
that
Lupe agrees. Like, I didn't play that part, but Lupe literally said Kendrick he's a better record maker. And he even said he in the other part of the interview, he said, I'm not gonna put my business out there the way Kendrick does. And he conceded that too.
Right.
And so, but here's a point I want to bring up. You, Fresco Live, my friend, you gave more insight than most of hip hop media. And that's the problem. You went right into a nuance.
Right.
I don't look, the listener, the fan base, I expect them to do whatever they do. You know what I mean? But if you call yourself media, there has to be a certain level of responsibility that you have with your platform. And I'm calling out media because
Most
media is the
definitely.
first to call out a rapper. Media is the first to call out artists for saying this or saying that. You shouldn't have said this. The timing was bad. You should have said that and said. Well, who calls out media? Media is spending its time. It's media's job to, okay, we could talk about the bullshit. We could talk about the argument. And again, it's not a quality TV. He's a content creator making his bread. I understand him doing what he did. But when it comes to the rest of media, I understand you're right. Because I personally, I feel, I agree with you 100%. I didn't like hardly nothing Lupe had to say about Kendrick. And same thing with his music. His music is, to me, is intellectually stimulating, but it doesn't connect with my heart on the level of Kendrick's Untitled album. One of my favorite Kendrick album was Untitled Unreleased Track, that 6-track album that he did, that he just dropped out of nowhere because of the emotion he had on that album, you know? So me and you, we in the same boat as far as both of our point of view on the reason why Lupe didn't connect, and we're in the same boat as far as some of the things that he said about Kendrick in the past. And I don't mind media bringing it up and get your algorithm, make your bread, but balance it with some information and some substance on the music. That's our job, because y'all listen to us for some kind of information, even when y'all do listen to us for the bullshit. We got to give you something.
Exactly. And see, that's why I believe that he ghostwritten for Drake before, because both of them have a monotone style that kind of rubs off on one, although Drake is nowhere near the lyricist that, you know, Lupe is. But Drake, I believe he's written for Drake before, because Drake is known to have ghostwriters. But you got to understand, there are artists out there who have who can rap on the type of beats that Drake first came in the game rapping on, that's still doing it today. And I can name one. Currency is one of them. And he's another one that doesn't put a lot of emotion in his raps. He has more of a monotone style, and he chooses he raps over movie scores the same way Lupe can rap over a movie score, or the same way Jay Electronica can rap over a movie score. But guess what? Currency don't do those deep ass lyrics either, to what point where people gotta listen to the song 4 and 5 times just to understand it, or go to what that is, the rap lyrics websites just to define what you said. Lupe got songs, man. To this day, I'm still trying to figure out what he meant. So I'm gonna land my plane there, but that's just what that is.
I appreciate the call, my brother.
Oh, go ahead. My
yes,
bad.
sir. No, I appreciate the call, man. Thanks for that call. Yes, sir. Now he's right. Like, and that's the thing. Music has so many lanes. How often do we have hip hop discussions on the different lanes in music? You listen to this person for that person for this. Why everything got to be a fight? And Lupe said things that come off a certain way? Yeah. But I also come from the point of view, and I'll be right to you, caller. I also come from the point of view of this. At the end of the day, I'm still a man. Oh, I guess now I just turned 45. I probably can legitimately call myself old school. But I come from the 80s and the 90s when men didn't really give a fuck what other men thought. You know what I mean? It was like what Q said, man, for what he do, fuck him and his crew. Not you're not literally saying, we're just saying like, I'm doing my thing over here, you doing your thing over there. If somebody don't like somebody, tough titty, it ain't my goddamn problem. Why are we having these long ass conversations? Oh, you doesn't like him. So, but hey, that's the reason why we having that conversation is because that's where the listener is now. That's what people want. People want to hear that BS. And these podcasters are giving it to people. What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Donald, calling from Los Angeles. How you doing,
What's up,
brother?
Donald? What's on your mind?
Well, the Lupe Fiasco and K-Dot situation, it's not just Lupe that kind of had them type of reservations towards like K-Dot. It's a couple of underground lyrical rappers because unfortunately they kind of mad that K-Dot, aka Kendrick Lamar, he kind of broke the code that a lot of underground rappers been struggling to break.
That's a good point.
Or been trying
That's
to
a
break.
really good point.
You know what I'm saying? He broke the code, like he cracked the code. He knows how to. He's basically one of them that knows how to connect to the people that they try to connect to. Because you know the underground rappers back then always had a problem with the mainstream rappers.
That's real talk.
At that time, a lot of them was too. You know what I'm saying? So the difference between what K-Dot is, K-Dot can actually, he got the best of both worlds, and and not only does he has how you doing? Not only does he has the best of both worlds, but he also knows how to adapt to both worlds if he wants to.
You know,
and this battle kind of proves
to go on by what you're talking about. The 2000s, I see people in the chat. Somebody said Lupe was a little bit early. The 2000s was when rap music really devolved. We really appreciated. Lupe would have been a hell of a lot more appreciated in 92, 91. You know, when rap was still about the art. You know, he'd have been pre 96. Lupe would be far more appreciated. Lupe came out around the time when I first started hearing Lupe's name. What, 02, 03? He came out at a time that music was on some nursery rhyme kind of stuff, the hot stuff. Down, down, baby, young street in a Range Rover. It was shiny coat. It was nursery rhyme. And then here come Lupe talking about something. But Kanye also broke through with that style at that time. So, but, you know, Kanye had that team behind him. He had, you know, he had the right team behind him. Kendrick had TDE behind him. He had the right team behind him. So the people that had the right teams with them, they were able to cut through. And Lupe admitted that in the interview. He said Kendrick had a much better team than I had. And so you're right. A lot of people like Lupe kind of fell through the cracks because at that time hip hop was really pointing towards like the most low level bass bullshit. We must always look back on that 2000s decade as a decade that opened the door for the quote unquote tether, because the Black American artists made the bar so goddamn low.
Exactly. Like, you got to think about it with Kanye. Kanye also had another in factor to him. He knew how to dress.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He knew how to dress. He knew how to produce. So he didn't come off as so, you know, he had a little bit more of a relatable factor. And he kind of used the college dropout as his tune along with the music. And he knew how to make music connect to other people. But the problem was when people, because, you know, a lot of people don't know, Kendrick Lamar and Lupe Fiasco, along with Pharrell, was supposed to start a super group.
I didn't know that.
That's when Yeah, that's when Lupe Fiasco got co-signed by Jay-Z. So when he got co-signed by Jay-Z, he's gonna start a super group. But I guess when he did that thing with where he kind of dissed the president, that kind of messed it up for him, and he had to take that deal. And his homeboy named Chill, which was a dude that signed him and gave him his deal, he went to jail for some other crime or what so not. So it was a lot of stuff that he was going through at the time that kind of backed him up. And I hate to say it, like the last caller said, he didn't know how to emote or connect with people. And like I said, and unfortunately, the problem with lyricists and underground rappers is they try, just like a lot of gangster rappers today, and unfortunately, a lot of the rappers back then, they try to oversell something to compensate for what they lack. So he's trying to oversell the lyricist's personality instead of just saying, you know what, maybe I do need to learn how to make songs to connect with the people and emote or what so not. Just like the gangster rappers today. They try to oversell the gangster lifestyle and the personality. And when you do that, sometimes you kind of deter away from the music. When you got a cat like Kendrick, who actually knows how to just do it just right and get to the point while maintaining lyrical integrity. And sometimes that kind of makes them jealous. And I don't want to sound too regional. Him being from the West Coast does plays a part in it. Because, you know, a lot of people always try to say, we don't have that known reputation for being spitters and we don't know how to rap like that. And now you got a cat from the West Coast that does know how to rap, and he actually is competition. And not only that, he also surpassed his whole class. So it's
oh yeah, they don't like that.
He surpassed his whole class.
They don't like when it comes from the West. It's like I listen to like a lot of people's complaints about Kendrick. I'm like, Kendrick embodies all of the principles of hip hop that everyone, if you truly love hip hop, even if you don't like his music, you know, you can get down. It's certain people like me personally. I was never the biggest Wu-Tang fan. I like Wu-Tang, they cool.
Yeah.
But I would never say anything bad about Wu-Tang. Why? Because Wu-Tang, top to bottom, they embody all of the principles of hip hop.
Oh, now you don't care?
They embody.
Exactly.
I like the principles. The principles of hip hop, the principles of music are far more important than my opinion on somebody. So when you run across somebody who does it the right way, even though I don't listen to a lot of personally, I don't have a lot of Wu-Tang that I listen to. Personally, I don't listen to a lot of Tupac. I know that's sacrilegious being from LA.
I understand.
But I'm never going to turn on a Tupac album. I know all this stuff. Like I heard it all when it came out. But like now, I don't go back and listen to Tupac. It was cool when it came out. I go back and listen to Outkast. I go back and listen to Ice Cube. I go back and listen to Nas. I don't go back and listen to Tupac. But I don't go back and listen to Biggie. But Biggie and Tupac both, they embody the principles of what we want a rapper to embody. Lyricism, style, they know how to emote. Tupac more so than Biggie, had a message and things like that. So since those elements exist, and I love the art form more than I love any individual, I'm going to hold my criticisms or me talking about what I don't like about these people, because what they do offer is far greater than me. I understand that my taste is not universal, and just because it's not my taste, it does not mean I have to go and crap on it.
You also got to, because I know you got to talk to some other people. I won't hold you up. So I'm going to just say this. You also got to add to the layers of the people that you mentioned. They have more to offer than just lyricism. When you listen to Outkast, it's more than just lyricism. It's the message. It's the musicianship, how they make their albums cohesive. You're not just getting, when it's with Wu-Tang, when it's with Ice Cube, you're not just getting lyricism or just rap. You're getting an experience when you listen to them. So it's that you actually like want to go back to. Just like when you listen. And you get it from Lupe Fiasco's first two albums and Tests on You. But the thing is that, like I said, he don't know how to emote.
And that's all it is.
It come off like
I don't want to go back over it again. I'm going to get to the next call, man, but thanks for giving us a call.
Yeah. No problem.
Somebody said in the chat room, why does everything go back to this tether shit with you? Did you not hear me talk about Black Americans who are on the BS too? If the word tethered bothers you, then check your actions. Tether is an action. A tether is somebody who comes into Black American culture, mixes in with us, and does things that are counter to our culture, counter to the betterment of our culture. And if that bothers you, and you totally ignored me address the Black Americans who deal with the same issues, that means you need to look in the mirror before you look at me. That's facts. What's up, Carter? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, brother, how you doing? It's different from Illinois.
What's up, different? What's your name, my brother?
What's up, dog? Yeah. Like, far as with Lupe, he hating, bro. Like he big time hating on Kendrick. I hate to use that word because I don't like to use the term hating either because it's worn out. But yeah, he definitely hating. I'm a Lupe fan too, but he's definitely hating on that man, bro.
Wait, let's go back. Let's go back. Were you here earlier when I was playing the video?
Yeah.
He had everything he said. What did he say that wasn't valid?
I get it. Yeah.
No, I mean, no. I'm saying no.
Get it.
I'm not. You my brother. You know, you went on my mouth, so I ain't here to. But I'm just here. I just want to back it up.
Sir.
Whether he's hating to me or not is irrelevant. Let's get back to what he said. What he said, and this is a major issue in music. What he said was the battle rappers and the people who rap, the bottom are still better than the mid-tier and the mainstream. And that's a very you don't have to agree with it, but it's a very, very valid argument. And it's an indictment on the industry more so than it is anything else. It's really an indictment on the industry. Why do we have a music industry that's not taking that talent down there and turning them into great rappers? There's a thing called artist development. People who started out, Marvin Gaye came into Motown as a drummer. Artist development is what taught him how to be clean, shave his mustache, wear a suit, dance his way. Marvin Gaye went through Diana Ross and the Supremes went through 3 years of artist development before they had a hit. Tina Marie, she didn't know how to make music in 77. She was with Rick James and them for 3 or 4 years before she finally had music that was good enough to put out and get a hit record. So Lupe is bringing up a very, 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 very important point. There's this pool of artists that are out there, and they're better than the people who are getting the backing. The conversation is, what's going on with the music industry? You can only I'm more talking in general more so than you. You can only say hate for so long. Okay, we've established the fact that he's hating. All right, cool. What's next? What's the solution? To me, the solution is we need to address the problem that he's bringing up.
True, I hear that part, but he been talking about Kendrick before more than once. He did this multiple times, so that's why I say he's hating. But he needs to really kind of dig deep and try to make something that's gonna grab people's attention.
What you're saying.
I get about the industry.
He agreed with all that. He agreed that I'm not. We got to get back to the conversation.
That same thing with Big Sean. He on the same pillar. That's why his last album flopped. To me, he didn't. But he said that he was burned out. But Big Sean got the same problem. And to me, he's a spitter too. But it's like he's not putting his all in his.
Why is and then right there, that's where we need to have a conversation. Where is the artist development to get them to that point? That's the conversation. But I got somebody in the chat that I want to call in, my man. Thanks for giving us a call.
I wanted to say one more thing too. You said it was something earlier you said too about you felt like hip hop. You said did hip hop ruin black music? I feel like it didn't. It's the industry, because when it comes to R&B and stuff, it's still we still got artists that's doing their thing, but it's not as strong
right now
as
because
it was.
of the hip hop style production. When they brought in trap production with the song "Yeah" by Usher, R&B ain't been the night when R&B went to Atlanta in the 90s and they took all that goddamn live production out. R&B has been trash since the 90s, if you compare it to the 70s. It's been good.
I pay attention to people like Erykah Badu and D'Angelo and all
You know
them
what they
who's coming
did?
out too. It
They
just
neo-sold and othered
yeah,
them niggas. They were the exception. I'm talking about mainstream.
yeah,
Erykah Badu and D'Angelo
true.
were not mainstream when they were at their hottest. Their music was so
It's off
good,
R&B.
it stood the test of time. But when it dropped, that was not mainstream. That is not what the industry was pushing. They were trying to other them niggas.
True.
But I want to get this person a call in,
True.
my man. Thanks for giving us a call.
All right, dog.
Yeah.
Holla.
Look at the. This must be a tether. It's a racial slur. How's that a racial slur? I use the word tether. How's that a racial slur? And I didn't mention anybody's race. It's not a racial slur. And tethers that aren't from America are not going to come to the United States and redefine what a racial slur is. No, it's not. The word coon, when black people use it, is not a racial slur. A coon is a style of black person that works against the interests of other black people. A coon, an Uncle Tom, not Uncle Tom, a Sambo, and Uncle Remus, Sambo, coon, these are terms that black Americans created to identify black Americans that work against the interests of black Americans. You came to a country that to work or get or whatever for whatever reason. You come to the United States, you're going to have to deal with black Americans getting down how we get down. We're not going to change because you're here. The same way we have descriptive terms for black Americans that aren't on code, we have descriptive terms for people for non-black Americans who aren't on code. And that word is tether. People who are in the culture but not of the culture working against the culture. And if that offends you, tough titty. You know what offends me? I'll tell you what offends me. Kodak Black and hip hop. That offends me. That tether. Cardi B. That offends me. That offends me. President Obama talking about George Washington. This is some tether shit right here. You know what offends me, tethers? This is what offends this tether right here. This is what offends me right here.
In thinking,
listen to this tether talk. This is offensive.
And I think sometimes we get confused in thinking that these two stories are completely separate. They're intertwined, right? And which is why it's possible for me to be a great admirer of George Washington and also acknowledge he was a slaveholder. And that does not negate his great
tether right there. That's a motherfucking tether. Fuck George Washington. I tell you one thing this tether won't acknowledge. He won't acknowledge George Washington's black assistant that he had, that Moore. I forgot his name. Who? Chat room, y'all smart. What's the name of George Washington's black assistant that they now try to reclassify as a slave, who was not a slave back then? What's his name? He wore the turban. You would never hear Obama or these tethers like that acknowledging black people that George Washington was around. They won't acknowledge none of that. They won't acknowledge all the and it wasn't just being a slave owner. Being a slave owner was one of the least of George Washington's crimes. Promising black Americans who fought in the Revolutionary War of freedom if they fought, and then re-enslaving them once the war was over. That's one of George Washington's biggest crimes. But if you're not from America and your family's not from here, you don't have those family stories that got passed down to you. You don't have these things rooted in your DNA. You can come here and wear our skin, and then somebody who was one of George Washington's last moves in the country was to make black Americans slaves through perpetuity. As the president, he could have gotten over that colonial rule and made it to where once your slavery was done, your servitude was done, and your children were born free. But George Washington made a law to where your children are not born free. George Washington was a bitch. And it takes a tether to come around and say, we can look at both sides of it. And ain't no real black American going. Now I'll tell you the kind of black American that would look at it like that. And that would be a damn not Uncle Tom, I can't use Uncle word. That's how you say Uncle Tom. An Uncle Remus style Django ass coon would look at it that way. But we as black Americans, we already have a word for black Americans who see things that way. We had to create a word for non-black Americans who see things that way. And that word is tether. If you don't like being called a tether, then don't fucking tether on to us. And then act like us and then do something different. And definitely don't come in my chat room trying to tell me what not to say. I'll tell you to kiss my ass 3 times. Kiss my ass and then go kiss your mama on the lips. That's what I got to say. But anyway, yeah, Clarence Thomas. That's a coon right there. Jason Whitlock. This channel gives equal heat to anybody who works against the interests of black people. Black Americans, non-black, people from the African diaspora, people from the Caribbean, people from Latin America, people from Europe, Asia, South America, wherever you from and you work against the interests of black Americans, this channel got heat for you. The thing is, don't work against this. Don't work against the interests of black Americans, and I don't have nothing to say. How about that? How about just not work against the interests of black Americans, and we have nothing to say? Or for people who don't like the word tether, how about you go and check those people who are working against the interests of black Americans so I don't have to? That would be a hell of a lot easier. If you police your own people, that would be a hell of a lot easier. But since people aren't doing it, y'all got to fall into alignment with how us as black Americans handle issues. And we handle issues with jokes. We handle issues with shit talking. We handle issues like that. That's how we do it. At least we don't do what people do in other countries. Other countries, hell, America made white folks change their whole goddamn name. Your name ain't Christopherson. Your name is Christopher. They burn white women at the stake who associated with black witches. Shit, other countries, y'all, like, look what's happening out in South Africa. South Africa's over there beating the dog shit out of Nigerians. We ain't doing none of that. I know, and I definitely wouldn't approve of that. Shit. We ain't doing none of that. We just calling you a tether. And in the last story of the night, two people were shot with a BB gun at naked bike ride in downtown Los Angeles. Ha, 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 ha. My first question is, why in the hell are y'all riding the bikes naked? 1 second, caller. Why in the hell are y'all riding these bikes naked? And who would actually, like me personally, the jokester in me, if I saw some people riding a bike naked, I would be like, man, somebody need to shoot these motherfuckers with a BB gun. And I would laugh, but not actually shoot them with a BB gun. Somebody actually went up and shot these people with a BB gun. This is so LA. One, the naked bike ride, that was stupid. People in Memphis are smart. You'll never see a naked bike ride in Memphis. Why? Because the people in Memphis are a hell of a lot smarter than these goddamn liberal naked bike riding LA in transplants. You'll never see that in Alabama, Arkansas, in Dallas. But you see it in LA. That's some bullshit. That was so LA even having a new bike ride. And it is also so LA that somebody took the time to shoot the motherfuckers with a BB gun. LA, boy, this city is funny, but look, they didn't die. They didn't get shot with a real gun. They just got a little BB mark on their naked ass thigh. You know what I mean? So I'm here to laugh at it. It's all is fair. Everybody's safe. So let's not say, "Why are you laughing?" No, it's funny. If you're riding your bike through downtown naked and somebody shoots you with a BB gun, I'm not gonna get mad. That's all I'm saying. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
This is Miss Brown from Portland.
Miss Brown from Portland. What's on your mind?
So this was perfect timing I called in because you were talking about the bike ride. We have that in Portland every single year. It's probably getting ready to happen within the next 30
That
days.
sounds like some Portland shit too.
In the summertime.
LA, Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, yeah.
Listen, that is every single summer, and it's gross, because we have have a high population. There's always a lot of white people. We see that they're naked, and they always pick it's been the last few years. It's been like a secret location. They won't tell the route they're taking until the last minute, but it is going to be advertised that it's on this day, but the location and the route won't be until that day. So yes, LA, I didn't know LA had that, but yes, here, but now we haven't had anybody shoot with BB guns or anything like that. But yes, it's been going on every year for at least the last maybe 10, almost 15 years,
Some
maybe.
white shit.
Yeah. White stuff. There you go. So, but anyway, I see the topic. So with the ESPN thing, I've been seeing this for a long time with ESPN and with the Stephen A's and the Kendricks and all the other country bumpkins that may come on there. I've really seen it to full play when he did that with Kyrie, and I've seen it bubbling up with Jaylen. And so I'm like, wow, he puts things that they just do nothing but start mess, start drama. Jason Tatum hasn't said anything about anything. But, Jaylen Brown wants to be number one and wants to be this. But he never said that.
Never said it.
He never said that. You can't quote that, but you're saying it like it's a fact. So I'm glad there's a pushback on him. I'm glad that Jaylen says what he says about him. Of course, I'll see the little snippets on other commentaries talking about it and seeing Stephen A's response, which is all the same. He has the same stick. He has the same, he's mafio, and, it's not journalism. So, I'm just glad I keep an ear to the street. I'm glad I have alternative, commentary to listen to like you, and I listen to the other sports people about it, the black people that we're all, and I'm glad that I'm thinking the same thing. So just on a whole of what Stephen A is doing. But again, it's Disney. You wouldn't get $100 million for nothing.
Right.
So, it's unfortunate, but it is going to be, it's a lot of black hymns, and it's a lot of black people like that in media, just in everything, and acting, from TV to commercials, everything is against the black man. On all the commercials.
I only got one issue with what you just said, and this is a major issue. You called them pimps. They ain't pimps, they hoes.
Oh, no, I didn't say pimps. Okay. No, who's pimps?
Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, no. I didn't say they was pimps. No.
Okay.
No. I know they hoes for the money. No.
My bad.
That's okay, but I agree. They are hoes. They are. They're all hoes. They're all tricks. So it's really, like I said, I'm watching that whole thing, and with the Lupe part and the Kendrick, I'm old school. I'm a little older than you, and I was there, when all this, and like you said, people, you can have your issue with whoever, because like you said, I like Wu-Tang. Now I may like the first album. Now I don't go too far, but I'm a true West Coaster. So, we had a lot to do where our mentalities, our vibe is different from the East Coast, which is fine. It's nothing to downplay, but I love all the music. So, because I heard the East Coast before I heard the West Coast stuff, and really be it more mainstream, be it more radio. And here in Portland, we didn't really have a lot of black radio stations like LA may have, or like other big major cities do. But we, in that era in the 80s, we all, as a teenager, we all gravitated towards that, and we just took what we can, be it MTV, be it Rap City, whatever came along, we gravitated towards that. So all this with Kendrick, it's really an art. People don't look at it, they want to say quote unquote hate, but really I look at it as everybody has their different art form, how they deliver it. I love Outkast, just like you said, I love them.
Yeah.
Outkast, I can pick any state or region or area. I'm gonna like somebody in all of them. So, because they all played a major part to it. Now, does people have a message? Like you said, I love Kendrick. My oldest son, which is 32, he turned me on to Kendrick years ago. And so when he turned me on, so now I just kind of go through him and listen to it. But then when I do see Kendrick, he tells a story. He has a message. His lyricism is good. He's for Black people. So he's always talking about something and not just about nothing.
Right.
Because, Drake is corny. They have all this corny stuff. They have the Cardi B's, these brides, all these mega stallions and all of them, they bring down Black women and they bring down Black people because they want to keep us low like that. So it's just really mainstream media and all that. That's what's really brought down music, like you just said. And remember, Dawg said it years ago. He said, what did he say? Hip hop is dead. He said that years ago.
That's real talking. The media has not doing it.
That's all I want to say. I just
thanks for giving us a call.
All right. All right.
Yes, it's that media, man. The media ain't crap. Media ain't crap. Media ain't crap. Media ain't crap. But yeah, so yeah, to close it all off, we're living at a time to where you got these Black men that are high-priced hoes. Going back to the person that had issue with me calling out the word tether. Did you have an issue with me calling Kendrick person a high-priced hoe? Oh, Heidi Fleiss ass nigga. Stephen A. Kardashian. These are high-priced hoes. And they'll take whatever dollar to sell out Black men. That's why they're there. Sports media, I should say, exists so that inferior others physically, and when I say inferior, I mean based on their mindset. These other people walk around with a Black inferiority complex. Understand this. What we call white supremacy, it really, what that's born out of is born out of Black inferiority complex. The people, and that's why you have people who aren't necessarily white that identify with white supremacy. They don't, the white supremacy mindset is I'm better than you based on white. But that comes out of knowing that you're inferior based on genetics and based on how you get down. When you see us dance, when you see us play basketball, football. And I'm not talking about the people who are cool. I'm talking about the people who subscribe to this ideology. You look in the mirror. Some people can see us Black people dance, and they're totally cool with it. They just admire it, and then they go back to living their beautiful lives. That's a lot of people. But there are also a hell of a lot more people who have a major Black inferiority complex of all races, including a lot of niggas. So sports media, Stephen A. Smith, ESPN, Fox Sports, that's used as a canvas to marginalize and crap on Black athletes so other people can feel good about themselves. You know what I mean? And you see it all the time, like in the Ring magazine rankings. Who saw this? This is Ring magazine, the pound for pound rankings. Naoya Inoue, Usyk, Shakur Stevenson is number 3. They got Devin Haney down to number 8, and he's undisputed. Devin Haney's undisputed, and he's down to 8. Jerron Boots Enos, you got 3 divisions of fighters that are running from him, that don't want to fight him. And he's down to number 9. They'll use these rankings, and all the time, whenever they always want to put like a Japanese fighter or somebody at number 1, and the minute that Japanese or Latino fighter fights a Black man, they get dragged from pillar to post. They get beat up. Not only do they lose, they get beat up. But this is what it's about. It's about using sports as a canvas to marginalize and lower the value of black men. And when they can't do it to you on the court, they do it to you off the court. When you get a black man that's a criminal, oh, look at him, and this is because there are no black fathers in the home, and black men, we need to do better, and blah blah blah. Then when you get one that is doing better, you crap on them. Hip hop media is a major reason why hip hop media is just as responsible for hip hop sucking as the rappers. Because it's all controlled by the same corporate interests. A lot of what we call mainstream hip hop, that's controlled by the same corporations who run the record labels. So if you're going to blame the rapper, look at the media too. Look at what the hip hop media has everybody arguing over. Who's top 5? Who does this? They don't explain the music. Don't talk about the greatness within the music. They all they do is just crap on people. And that's why we must be here to highlight it and talk about it. All right? Thank y'all again for listening. Remember, there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. One more day to join the raffle. Just one more day. Get your tickets right now. We will raffle this bad boy off later in the week, all right? Thank y'all again for listening. We out.